Om Shanti and greetings of peace. Time is encouraging us to look within and emerge our potentials, our inner power, so that our willpower, our tolerance power, our resilience will increase, and we will be able to deal and overcome external challenges. As we must be noticing, external challenges are intensifying and becoming more and more negative. And in order to cope effectively, we need to emerge our inner power. And we have it, it's there within us. And so the external adversities and challenges is thankfully giving us an opportunity to emerge our courage, our tolerance, our patience, our hope, our faith, and in fact, it pushes us closer to God. So if we can recognize the hidden secret and the benefits that life is presenting in the form of examinations, test paper, challenges, adversity, they are intended to act as stepping stones so that we can get closer to our destination. So one of the encouragement you will receive whenever you join one of our sessions, understand the importance of challenges and begin to embrace them rather than deny, resist, or work against them. There's a saying, God don't give you more than you can take. Tonight, our session is especially dedicated to great women, each one of us. And I'm very conscious we also have a few men joining us as usual. We're happy for their support because without them, we cannot again achieve our highest potential. We need their support and their faith in us. So let me, on behalf of the Brahma Kumaris, wish all of you women happy Women's Day. We continue to reflect on the greatness of women and the part that they are playing in the world today. I was fortunate to attend a conference called The Four Faces of Women so many years back. That time I was living in the UK, and this program was held in Scotland. And after staying in the UK for a number of years, I returned to the Caribbean. And at some point, having spent again some 2 years in Curacao, I moved to Aruba. Just wanting to do something, I launched the Four Faces of Women in Aruba. And I remember before we went to the media, we had a full house. We had 105 women signed up, and there was very little space. We were chock a block in that little space in the University of Aruba. Coming to St. Martin within the first 6 months, again, I launched this program, and we had 137 women attending it from all walks of life. And it was intended to be a full day's program. And I want to tell you, because of the success of this program in Curacao, Aruba, and St. Martin, all the 50 countries that I have traveled, I was able to take the Four Faces of Women program. And I recognize how much women need to feel supported. And whenever we do this program in small group discussion, which we can do in an hour's time and on a Zoom, but when we were taking women through small workshops during the sessions, we found out that most women began to realize so many other women are going through what they are going through. So they feel connected, they feel support. They didn't feel that they were alone experiencing what they were going through. And so that I feel is one of the very beautiful feedback that we get out of the program. Tonight, I will just briefly introduce to you the Four Faces. In fact, the Four Faces demonstrated the four phases, the four stages of our journey in life. And the first phase we are going to look at is this child that lives within all of us. There's a little child, and that child, that little girl child that continues to live on, that child represents innocence, purity, spontaneity, freedom, just to give you a few. When you look at a child, whether it's a boy child or a girl child, you will see that innocence, that purity, that spontaneity, and that freedom. Freedom from animosity, freedom from judgment, freedom from negative influences. It is very visible in that child. So that child continues to live on in all of us. But what happened after a period of time, particularly in the life of a young girl? What we discover is that our elders, our parents, people who have good intention, wanted to protect our purity and our innocence, they set up boundaries, rules. The intention behind these rules and these boundaries were to protect our purity and our innocence. But after a while, we became so conditioned, we started to believe we are what they say we are, and we forget who we are really, or we are not allowed to explore our potential. So, like girls are getting married, they marry you off at a very young age. They don't feel girls need to have a degree, a profession, a career. Because they will have to be housewives, they will have to give birth to kids. And there were many, many such rules and many, many such boundaries. And it created a damper on many traditional women because they begin to feel that we are what they say we are. And those traditional rules bound us, stifled us, and not necessarily protect us. Intentionally, it was meant to protect us, but ultimately, it became means to block us, to trap us, to limit us. And after a while, you will notice many traditional women, they become subservient, they become passive, They begin to feel that they are second-class citizens and that their role is to listen and obey their parents. And when they move into their family life, their role there is to serve their husband or their in-laws and be there to please. And so after a while, many of these traditional or some of these traditional women, they realize we are not what they say we are. There's much more to me than this. And so they decided to break some of the traditional rules. So we have the first phase, which represents the child in all of us, which represents the eternal phase. And then we have the second phase, which is called the traditional phase. And now some of those traditional women decided, no, I can make choices. I can take up a career. I can choose how many children I want or when I want them and if I want them. So they begin to break some of those bondages and they create new laws for themselves. And they represent the modern woman. So today there is a challenge because previously, for centuries, the role of women were supposed to be a housewife, a mother, and very little more than that. And today, our modern women choose career, if not necessarily over children, but they choose to have a career so that they can become economically independent and they can also share the burden of the family responsibilities. And when you look at the situation today, if women don't work and just one person become the breadwinner, it can be very tough and it can probably not work. So both parties, because of the time and circumstances, both parties are invited to shoulder the financial responsibility within a household. But whilst women choose to be career driven, there has to be a balance in their commitment to their family responsibility, nurturing, sustaining, guiding the whole family. Because all of us know that saying, the one who rocks the cradle rules the world. We have heard that saying, and we've heard also another saying, and that saying is when you want to educate a family, a nation, the world, educate a woman. So I want to pause for a moment to reflect some of the researches that has been done to prove how effective that could be and the impact of the vibrations women have on their sustenance and nurturing role in the family. Some years back, an experiment was carried out in China in which they put a number of would-be mothers, pregnant women, in a beautiful building. And in the building, or on the walls of the building, there were paintings, photos of beautiful, healthy, happy babies. And the experiment was to ensure that all the mothers, their state of mind was one of happiness and contentment. So they surrounded them with a lot of love and give them all the facilities and comfort necessary to make them feel content. And what they discover that all the women give birth to happy, healthy, beautiful babies. So this experiment was intended to prove that the state of mind of a mother has a great impact on the unborn child. And in this statement, I'm not excluding the impact of the vibrations of the father, but I'm highlighting and emphasizing the mother because she carries that baby 9 months. And then after the baby is born, she carries the baby in her arms, rocking the baby to sleep, putting the baby to sleep, nursing the baby, and shifting it from the arm to the shoulder to the waist. And so every vibration that the mother is going through, whether she has her self respect intact, she's happy with where she lives, she's happy in her relationship, she's happy with herself, she knows how to love, respect, value herself. All of those vibrations impact tremendously on her child. And we also know that from 0 to 7, that age bracket, most of our children today within that age bracket takes a lot of inspiration, impression from the ones that they're surrounded with which is usually the mother, father, a few siblings, and within that age bracket, perhaps they go to school and they start interacting with their teacher. So, very few people in those first 7 years are impacting on the lives of those children. And therefore, our moods, our perception, our mindset, our outlook, the way we see ourselves, we're going to project that on everyone around us. And so, if women become more and more aware that their role is to nurture and sustain the entire family, then the choice of a career, the choice of being financially independent, the choice of becoming equal at the workplace, they will have to make major decisions considering what their specific role is. And it will be beautiful if they can balance it by being a career oriented woman and reach your highest goal in your career, but also if you can balance it off by playing your role effectively in nurturing and sustaining. I want to take this opportunity to add a couple more things, notable things about women and their role. If you go to all the mosques, the Muslim place of worship, or you go to the temples where Hindus gather, or you go into the churches, any home, place of worship, you will find that the majority of worshipers are women. So women have a natural inclination to connect and take support from God. Unfortunately, they're deprived of leadership role, even in the house of God. They're seen as one who can be a worshiper, but one who is deprived from playing leadership role in the church or temple or mosque. So why until today, centuries later, women are not recognized as potential leaders? And that's where Brahmakumaris play a very crucial role. In 1936, although our founding father was a man, a male, he was inspired to bring a group of young women to lead this organization called Brahmakumari's World Spiritual University. And in those days, in the 1930s, unheard of around the world in general, but particularly in India, women were not accepted as religious leaders. So it was such a revolutionary move. And of course, a lot of criticism, defamation, and even they took the organization to the court. All sorts of attempt was made to close the mouths of women and deny their role in the field of religion or spirituality. But today, this organization, led by women, the biggest organization in the world, have earned ourselves 7 International Peace Messenger Award from the United Nations. And this same organization now within from 1936 to today's date, 2021, we were able to open branches in 130 countries, more than 9,000 branches. And Daddy Janki, who recently passed on at the age of 104, she was described as one of the 10 wise keeper in the world, even though she had very little formal education. And not just that, but her intense practice of meditation has earned her another incredible title. She has been acclaimed as the one person in the world who has the most stable mind. Several times over her life, she was tested with the EEG equipment in which they tried to monitor very closely her delta waves. And even though while she's talking, while they put a beep, sudden beep in her ear, while they prick her very gently with a needle, they noticed that at all times her delta waves were almost invisible, just to prove that her stability of mind go beyond sound, movement, thinking, whether she's in a talking, thinking, sleeping, silent mode, meditative mode, regardless of her activity, she had mastered the control over her mind. All of this is possible when women become aware of their power. And Daddy Janki became the most stable mind in the world when she was very ill, and she was not allowed to talk, to meet people, which she loved to do. So she thought, since I can give God's message, I can meet God's children, at least I can serve humanity, serve them all through my mind. And so when she was lying in her bed, she began to exercise the power of her mind. That's where she mastered, because it's all about mind over matter. And she's the one who addressed the United Nations, leaders from all over the globe. A puny little woman, but a humongous heart, and wants to go across the world and reveal God to every child of God. I had the great honor and privilege to be in her company and sustained and nurtured by her for the 37 years that I've been with this organization. I was fortunate. I feel blessed. Soon I will be addressing a group in the US on her life and my experience with her. Coming back to women, so all the churches, all the places of worship, the majority of the worshipers are women. If a woman is sick, she will get up and take care of her children, her family. She will still go to work. She will not neglect any one of her duty. So physically, she's the one who was given the task, giving birth to the child after carrying the child 9 months. So put to the test, she is physically strong. When it comes to God, she is spiritually stronger. When it comes to temptation and immoral acts, women win the test. So morally, a woman is stronger. Mentally, a woman is stronger. She can take on all the problems, her personal one, problems within the household, problems in the widest society, problems at the workplace, and she can still continue to smile and carry out her responsibility. Mentally, she's stronger. Physically, she's stronger. Spiritually, she's stronger. And morally, she's stronger. So I'm not sure where the idea came and why the idea is there that women are the weaker of the two. So it's time we recognize women do have great potentials. And this is why God is using women at this time, choosing women to create a new world, a better world. He's putting women in front, not because of any form of discrimination, but the intention is restore the dignity and respect in women and put them back where they belong, and to make them equally capable, not greater than men, but equally important. So to restore back their dignity and put them in a respectable place back in the society, in this task of creating a new and better world. But there's another reason why women are naturally gentle, soft, loving, caring. They have that natural humility, ready to surrender easily to God, ready to surrender easily to their family, to their husband, family at home, parents, their immediate family. Women have the natural humility to surrender, sacrifice for others. Women have the natural ability to love and care. So God is capitalizing on these beautiful and natural, authentic quality of women to create a better world, to open the gates of heaven. We need both parties. But at the moment, God is putting women in front and asking the brothers to support them, to cooperate with them, so that together, in revealing their greatness, they will be able to reveal God. I have a mother here who is being invited to share a poem with all of you. I'm going to ask her to share her poem.
Good evening and Om Shanti. The strong woman versus with the woman of strength. A strong woman works out every day to keep her body in shape, but a woman of strength builds relationships to keep her soul in shape. A strong woman isn't afraid of anything, but a woman of strength shows courage in the midst of her fears. A strong woman won't let anyone get the best of her, but a woman of strength gives the best of her to everyone. A strong woman makes mistakes and avoids the same in the future. A woman of strength realizes life's mistake can also be unexpected blessings and capitalize on them. A strong woman wears the look of confidence on her face, but a woman of strength wears grace. A strong woman has faith that she is strong enough for the journey, but a woman of strength has faith that it is the journey that she will become strong.
Thank you, Jyoti Ben. She's one of our students of the Raj Yoga Brahma Kumari Center here in St. Martin, and very cooperative soul. She comes here daily. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the Shakti phase, the fourth phase. I did mention the eternal phase, the child in all of us. Then I talked a little bit about the traditional phase. Then we went on to talk about women today, the modern woman. Sometimes we need to check whether now that we have freedom to choose when we want to get married, if we want to get married, how many children we want, and whether we should take up a career or not, we have these choices. But the big question is, are we able to be more effective in playing our role? If we look at the success the traditional mothers had as opposed to what's happening in the scenario today in a modern household where the both mother and father takes up a career and they're out of the house for many hours. What happened? Are we able to create and sustain better relationship with our children? Are we able to monitor them and nurture them and make them young ladies and young men in a dignified manner? It's something that we can reflect on. But one of the things I want to mention is the Shakti, the final phase. Most women today are aware of the traditional phase and modern phase, and we swing between the two. The traditional woman might be passive, subservient, and allow people to tell them what to do. Whereas the modern woman will not necessarily be passive, will maybe be more aggressive in achieving her objectives. So there's one who is passive and one who might more likely be aggressive. There's one who is gentle and there's one who is strong. But the gentleness have to be balanced with strength. And the strong, powerful have to be balanced with gentleness. So gentle yet strong. Determined but not stubborn. Flexible but not careless. So the balance of both, to not be passive nor be aggressive, but to be assertive, just to give you a little insight. And so the final phase is called the Shakti phase. The word Shakti means power. And it's interesting to know that in the Indian culture, in the ancient culture of India, it always used to be the woman first and the man second. They used to always use the girl if they're referring to a couple, whether young boy, young girl, or elderly, they will say Radhe and Krishna, Lakshmi and Narayan, Srimati or Sriman. Always they used to address the woman first. In the Western world, which we have all adopt and pattern our lifestyle, it is Mr. and then mistress. Something to think about. Another thing to think about. In many of the rituals that is conducted in Hinduism, invocation, when a man is going on to the battlefield, he will invoke a goddess. Whether he wants wealth, he goes for a career, he will invoke another goddess for learning, education, another goddess for wealth. And it is always only goddesses that are the bestower of virtues and powers in the Indian culture and religion. And it is the men who will do the invocation and rituals invoking these powers in their life. And it is noted also that they have great respect. Even in Christianity, the only rosary that is repeated, chanted, is the one Hail Mary, where great reverence, great respect is given to Mary, the mother of Jesus. So there is already the understanding of the power of women. So the idea of empowering women is not really necessary. The information is there that women are already powerful, just that we need to awaken that awareness and help them to maintain that awareness of their greatness. It's there. It's there in the past. It's there currently now. Today, as opposed to the past, where 20% of women were allowed to join medical colleges or university. Today, I don't know how many of you are aware, most of the people who are having a degree today are women. Majority are women. So they are outstanding, they're making great progress. But I wanted to close by remembering that we are not the traditional woman nor the modern woman. Those are two phases of our journey. Traditional or modern phases are part of our journey, but they're neither our destination. Our destination is to become the Shakti, and we can only emerge the power within us if we recognize the innate qualities that are there in the eternal face. We have to go back to that state of purity, that state of innocence, that state of freedom. But that innocence and that spontaneity and that purity and that freedom have to be in the mind of our women. They should be feeling free from inside and project that outside. And when they are able to embody those qualities of love, of peace, of contentment, manifest them, bring them in a practical form in their life, they would reach the Shakti phase. One method Brahma Kumaris are teaching to help women get there, all humanity to get there, not just women alone, is to recognize that you're neither male or female. That is your costume, your body. You are a soul. And whether you are in a male or female body, you have both personality. There's a feminine side of the male, and it is the same with female, because as souls, we're neither male or female. So we have the potential to be both. But when we condition ourselves, I'm a woman, and a woman can only do this, a woman is only capable of this, a woman is only expected to be this, that's where we bring ourselves into some form of limitation. So we need to go beyond the limitation of the role we play. In Brahma Kumaris, we talked about soul being separate from body and from roles. I'm a soul using my body to play a variety of roles. But I, the soul, can never be my body, and I, the soul, can never be my role. So when you come back to the essence of who you are, your innate self as a spiritual divine being, and you connect with the supreme amongst all beings, God, you can reignite those qualities that are right now latent and dormant within all of us. You have, as women, a very close relationship with God because God selected women especially and make them caregivers, responsible parents. God give that role to women to take care, give birth to his children and nurture and sustain them. So be proud of yourself. Don't try to, I don't want to play that role anymore. I just want man's job rather. No, you can play the role in a female body and in your uniqueness, in your femininity, you can still play your role effectively. But remember, you are just playing the role of a female. You're not a female. You have this body as a female in this birth. Who knows in your previous birth whether you had the costume of a male or your future birth, you'll have the costume of a male. So don't limit yourself thinking I'm a female and condition yourself and think what this society expects a woman should be, that's what I'm going to be. No, go beyond your roles, go beyond your culture, your religion, your age, your gender, your nationality. Break free of those limitations and see yourself as a soul, a divine personality, and you can play your role more and more effectively. So, thank you very much. Om Shanti and greetings of peace. We can pause just for one moment of silence. Thank you and good night.